Hi, welcome to the tutorial on reporting. I just want to show you this to start with the monthly report that we give to EFN, obviously every month. So this is a report that I just pulled off of the computer downstairs for February of 2022. This shows you the count of households that have picked up. There was 323, and there was 1,310 clients that were served, 318 first-time visits, and then this is broken down by age and day. And so there were 51 people of 2 years or less. There were 454 of people ages 3 to 18, and so on. And these numbers down here add up to 1,310. So that's how things should look. As you can see, this is underreported. I kind of did some math right here to just do some conservative estimates of how many people we actually serve. We usually have a full day of at least 24 households. There's an average of 21 days of service per month, and those two multiplied together equal about 504 households. And if we say that the average household is 4 people, then we should really be serving around 2016 people per month. So that's just a way to show that we are probably grossly underreporting the numbers of people that we serve. So I take this raw data from our Access database and I go to this is our actual monthly report. And you can see it's easy to just plug in some of the numbers here of 318 unduplicated people, then 1,310 people that have come. This is a little confusing. It says new unduplicated, returning unduplicated, and it says served this month and previously since the start of your reporting year, and new as of start of your reporting year. That's confusing. It makes me think that you should be a cumulative or an aggregate since the beginning of that time. But this really is a monthly report. It's just saying that they were served this year, and so we're not counting them as new. If they've already been served this year, we're not counting them as new this month. Same thing with new. They haven't been served this year. So when the year starts over again, we can count people as new and unduplicated. That's just it's a bit confusing, but that's how it is. So it really is just the numbers that have come this month, or really last month only. So we can plug the 1,310 in from the report, as well as the 318 and then the 323 households. But what's not given in the report is that the breakdown of ages of the 318 or the 78. Now, it could be that the 318 is included within the 1310, but because these numbers are underreported, and obviously from what I've shown you already, the 1310, if that was the only number, then that again would be an underrepresentation of what we actually do, which would mean that EFN would give us less food than we actually need. So I've treated these numbers as separate until we get a better reporting system, which means that we need to figure out these numbers here of the breakdown of this 318 in terms of the ages as well as for the households served. So what I've traditionally done is I've said, okay, well, um, for each thing we know that we have 51 2-year-olds over 1,310 people, and then we have X amount over, and I don't know why my computer's doing this, over 318, and then if we wrote those numbers as kind of like a fraction, and then we said each fraction equaled each other, say. So I don't know why it's doing this. Um, anyway, if those two fractions equaled each other, we would just cross multiply, and to figure out that 1310x would equal whatever, let's see, 51 times 318, and then we would just divide that number. So x would equals this number, this number divided by this number equals K18. Yeah, so we would just do that division and figure out. My computer's giving me problems right now, but we would just do that, this number divided by 1310, and that's what x would equal. So I would just go down and do that for each of them. And so it would just give us proportionally that it would be the same. And then that's the number that I would put in here for each of the values. So that's how I find that out. I would do the same thing here because let's look at this report. This is the report pulled off of Accessed in terms of the race and ethnicities that came. This up here, is left blank. I put down, since most of our clients that come are actually white and we don't have any way to know, I actually add the 127 and 63 and put that under white. And then and white also includes Hispanic. So that's important to remember that these numbers over here, this 19 is actually Hispanic households. And so this represents, or clients. So this represents that. So I'm actually, because this number 229 should equal this number of clients served. So you can see how this number, and it says new clients only, in the race should equal the new clients served, because you're only reporting race and ethnicity for the new clients served. So you have to get it so that these numbers are the same, which means that, again, you have to play with these numbers and say what you would take these numbers. So it'd be, 11 over 272 per se, and equals x over 318 for each one. And then you would, again, cross and multiply and figure that out. So it does take some math to be able to do that. I hope, if that's confusing, I can explain it more. But that's how I get the numbers for the EFN monthly report. And then we do need to also, down here, the total pounds of food that we send out in a month. So I get this by the outbound form that the warehouse uses, as well as I multiply the number of clients served by, I assume, around average 160 pounds per household that we serve with food, client household. So that's how I get this number. It's the outbound food that we give to our partners, as well as however many clients or households really we've served, not clients, but households. So it would be the total number of households. So it'd be this plus this. So it'd be the 78 plus 23 times 160 plus whatever the outbound to partners would be. And that's how you would get the 160, 158. And then also up here, yeah, so that's basically the EFN monthly report. Now, to go to TFAP. So TFAP, this is the TFAP form that we need to fill out each month. This I actually filled one out for February, but I didn't include that here. So at the beginning of every month, we receive a report like this that says how much we're going to get for the next month. So this is actually March's report. And so we should be taking these totals here, this 10, 13, 12, and these here, and we should be reporting the commodity descriptions. So we would write cranberry apple juice, or we can even copy and paste it in here. And so cases received, then we would take and say cases received, we received 10. So that gives us a total to start with. And then at the beginning of the month, we should actually go into the warehouse and count how many cases, not individual items, but how many cases of cranberry apple juice we have. And so that would give us a number here. We probably have 0. Probably don't have any cranberry apple juice. And then at the end of the month, we should count again how many cases of cranberry apple juice. And we would probably, just guesstimating, have 0. And this is actually March's. So I'm sorry, I was wrong. This is March 2022. And so then we would just say the report check here, this should always be 0. So we would put 10 here, and then that would show physical inventory, book inventory are the same. So the report check is 0, because these always should be the same. This is the book inventory. This is how much by math we should have. This is physical inventory is how much we actually have. So we want these two numbers to be the same. So this number is just this number minus this number, or vice versa. So that's how, so it just takes a lot of time to just go through and count everything, but otherwise this report is pretty simple. Total number of client signatures, that's just how many clients we served in this month. So we would go to the EFN monthly report and get the numbers of clients we served, the number of households we served, and then we would multiply the number of clients by 1.25, I think, to get the total meals served. But there's a formula that we have to multiply the total number of clients by to get I think it's 1.25 to get the total meals served. So that, in a nutshell, is the TFAP report. And then finally, there's the Meal Connect report, and this is for Food Lifeline. And so we go to mealconnect.org, or this is, mealconnect.org, and then we would sign on, obviously, and apparently it's taken a little bit, but this is where we're going to report all the food that we received from Costco, Safeways, Fred Meyer, Target. So we would start with clicking on Costco, or whichever one that we have. We're going to do this report based off of the inbound report that the warehouse puts together. So we say we choose Costco, and then there's different goods that we have in here. And so we would say bakery, and then we would just put in the amount of pounds. Let's say 1,200. We would click add. For some reason it's not working, but we would click add, and when we're done, we'd click add receipt and review. Let me just figure out why this is not working. There we go. Okay. So we've got Costco. We're going to do bakery. And we're going to add 123 pounds this time. And there. Now it works. And then we'd add another line for another item. Let's say we want to do produce. So we'd add in produce, and that's 1,200 pounds. And then we click add. And then once we're done, we'd click add receipt and review. Now, since we're not going to actually report this, I'm not gonna do that right now. But you would go through and add that. I use the SumIfs formula. So let me see if I can open up a report here. And here's the Puyallup intake workbook. So here's the intake workbook, and on, let's find one that, here we go. So on N5, let's see. So this is the formula that I use, and I actually have all of these formulas. SumIfs, A to A5, A5 to A35. So that's, in other words, what you're actually multiplying, and that's the pounds. And then so that's the number it's going to sum, and then it's going to look for bread, pastry in columns B5 to B35. So it's B5 to B35 is the criteria. Is it called the criteria range? So that's just the range of where it's going to look for. So every time it sees bread pastry, it's going to go back to columns A5 to A35 to see how many pounds, and it's going to sum that up. And it's going to also look for, then it's got to say target here. So it's going to, so this is the second, say, also look in C5 to C35 and say target. So every time it sees bread pastry target, it's going to go back here and add that number up. So there's none in there, but there's 2 Safeway downtown. So let's go over here and let's find, so that's Costco. There's Safeway downtown. So there's looking in A30, B5 to A35. So let's go over here. So that's Safeway downtown. And we've got 127 and 73. So that's bread pastry from Safeway downtown. So it adds this one, and then again it finds bread pastry, Safeway downtown, and it adds this one. So those two together equal 200 pounds. So this is a great way, especially since I'm doing it monthly. You could use this. I think you guys are going to do this daily, but if you need to understand this formula more, you can let me know. But this really helps to make it so I don't have to worry about adding everything up myself. It just, Excel does all the work for me. So that is a basic tutorial. I hope that wasn't too long, but appreciate you guys taking this over. And any way I can help, please let me know. But hopefully this video helps you a little bit. Thanks.